Buongiorno. Buongiorno, ciao tutti, and benvenuti to Five It Live with Louise in the Jimmy DePew kitchen. So, yeah, 5 o'clock. What is that Jimmy Buffett song about? Is 5 o'clock somewhere? So, it's 5 o'clock in Italy, so we're making granita today. So let's get started. First thing we're going to start with the simple syrup. We'll have our juice ready, and then we'll start with the simple syrup. I'll talk about the juice in a minute while the simple syrup is doing its simple thing. So since I'm not going to use 4 cups of juice, I'm cutting it back a little bit because that's all I have. I'm going to cut back a little bit on my simple syrup. So the cool thing about simple syrup, it's pretty easy to remember. Whatever amount of water you put in, I'm using 2/3 of a cup today because I'm cutting back a little bit on the portions. And then about 2/3 of a cup of sugar. And I use baker's sugar because I like the fine granulated consistency of that. So just put it in the water and then pop it on the stove top. And about medium heat or so. Yeah, medium heat or so. And then stir. We just work this until it dissolves. So while this is kind of dissolving and cooking down, this is super simple, hence the word simple syrup. We'll talk a little bit about the juice. So if you have access to citrus trees, I used to make granita all the time with the grapefruits from my grapefruit tree. I would sometimes blend it with Meyer lemon juice or sometimes with tangerine or tangelos or oranges, whatever you have. So if you're using fresh juice from a fruit off your tree, once you squeeze it, you're going to want to strain all the pulp and the seeds and get it all out. Then you have this really nice clear juice, whether it's grapefruit or whatever. I've done pomegranate juice as well. One, love pomegranate juice. Two, super delicious, and the color is incredible when you're finished with this. And the other thing is, you guys all love seeing pomegranates. I, for one, am not squeezing pomegranate fresh juice, so I just buy it at the grocery store. Palm, not that I'm a promoter of other people's company's product, but I use Palm because I used to drive by all the miles and miles of orchards growing the pomegranates. I'm like, oh, I know where you came from. So I know your people. So pomegranate today, only because that's what I could get my hands on because I'm not living with a citrus tree in my backyard. Okay, so let's check on our, oh yeah. So it's starting to dissolve. Can you see that? Let me show you. See, still a few little granulars of sugar in there, so we'll do that. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for that to totally dissolve, I did go to the garden this morning and pick a couple leaves of mint. I think it's mint, could be spearmint. I get so confused when I go to the nursery to buy mint and spearmint and whatever. I pick all the leaves and smell it, go, is it mint? Is it spearmint? Anyway, kind of smells spearminty. It's going to go into the simple syrup once the sugar has dissolved. Let's check on that again. Oh, look, it's ready already. Finished. So just like that, sugar dissolved, doesn't take long. This is what it looks like. Let me show you. And then I'm going to drop in a couple of the leaves of mint and just kind of stir it around a little bit and let it sit and cool and let the mint kind of the flavor of the mint seep into the simple syrup. Let's put this aside, let it cool, and while that's happening, we'll prep the juice, which doesn't require much effort other than opening up the bottle and then pouring it in. So here's the thing. There are a couple containers. I actually use a bowl to make the granita. It takes a little longer to freeze, but it keeps the juice from winding up all over the freezer. So I go with a little deeper bowl. We're just going to pour this in. I mean, like if you have like a cake pan, like an oblong cake pan with a high side, you could use that to make the granita in. But since I use that pan to make my brownies, and once we start making the granita, you use a fork to kind of flake up the ice crystals. I didn't want to scratch the shit out of my pan, so I use a stainless steel bowl, which I'm not sure you can see it in here, but it has scratch marks all over it from making granita. Okay, so there's the juice and it's ready. So while I let this simple syrup cool for a few more minutes, I want to show you something. Look what came out of the garden this morning. So these are zucchini blossoms, and what's interesting is I picked them because they're the male blossom. I think I'm going to make pasta with these. But anyway, I wanted to show these. I'm so excited about how pretty they are. See how pretty they are? I'm going to chop these up and maybe put them in pasta. Maybe I'll take a photo or two and show it and post it on Facebook or something. So that is what came out of the garden this morning. And then after I'm finished with the granita today, I'm going to head over to the farmer's market. Speaking of the granita, for those of you who are cooking along, because cooking is always more fun with friends, who's making the granita with me, direct message me if you want me to like send you little texts or little notices of like time to scrape the granita. That's actually the most laborious part of this whole task, is just remembering to go to the freezer every now and then and scrape and flake the crystals, because you want to make sure that it never turns into a solid block of frozen juice and simple syrup. That's not very good. It can't scoop it out. So I'll video this throughout the day to show you kind of what the texture looks like and how to keep it all flaky. So a little bit about granita. Love this stuff. This is like a signature dish or a signature dolce from Sicily. You can find it in other parts of Italy, but the Sicilians are known for their granita. And I'm telling you, having eaten the granita in Sicilia, it's amazing. Just so flavorful, and like you can taste real fruit. I've had strawberry and lemon together. And another interesting thing that they do with the granita that I thought was a little bizarre when I first saw it is they put granita on a brioche bun. I'm like, what? First off, why would you do that to a brioche bun? And why would you do that to your granita? Granita is so delicious all by itself. But I was having granita with a friend, and she had hers on brioche, and she's like, taste it, try it. So I tasted it, took a bite of hers, and it was good. I don't know what it is about that combination, but it's kind of like you can put granita on a brioche bun, and that's how the Italians eat it. And frequently they'll eat it, in the afternoon, late in the afternoon when it's, summertime and it's hot, or before dinner time, because the Sicilians eat dinner quite late during the summertime. And so they'll be out strolling around as the sun's dipping a little bit and starts to cool off a little bit, and people are out having granita, walking, and also having gelato, but granita is like the summertime thing. Okay, so now we've let the, here, let me show you, because I'm getting feedback that you guys can't see what I'm doing if I don't move the camera. So moving camera. So here we just let the mint seep a little bit, and then I just kind of scoop it out. And of course, the longer you leave the mint in, the more intense flavor you're going to get. So if you know you like a lot of minty flavor, you might want to leave it in longer or add more leaves. So I'm going to squeeze the juice out. There we go. And oops, oh, that's not good. And then pour the simple syrup right into your juice. Give a little stir. Seriously, this is it. Wait till you see how delicious this is and how beautiful the color turns out for granita. Okay, I'm going to give it a stir, and now I'm going to put this in the freezer. And this is it. Going to dazzle your friends with how delicious this is. Now, on the downside, you can't take this to a potluck because it melts so quickly. So we're going to stir, and I'm going to walk this over to the freezer and turn the timer on my phone so that I remember to go back and, but let me show you while I have you here. So the way I flake it is this will start freezing, and it starts freezing and forming ice crystals around the outer edge and maybe on the top. And so what I do is I just start breaking up those ice crystals with the fork. So I just kind of go down the side, twirl the bowl, twirl, 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 fork, 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 and just break up the ice crystals. Goes back in the freezer. Come back, set the timer, and repeat. depending on the temperature. You'll just keep an eye. It might, you might be able to go back like once every hour. So into the freezer it goes, and I'll video what this process looks like throughout the day. So that's it for today. Eccoci qua, voila. This is it. Have fun, you guys. And let me know how it turns out, and post your photos in Facebook on the Dimi DPU page. Ciao for now.